One of Australia's biggest banks, ANZ, is about to become the target of a green protest campaign, even though earlier this year Dow Jones named it the most sustainable bank globally. Greenpeace is taking on ANZ over its role as the leading financier of the coal industry and coal-fired power stations. Margot O'Neill reports.
Just today, the ANZ was named one of 30 big Australian companies leading the way in reducing their greenhouse gas emissions. And last month, ANZ was named the world's leading sustainable bank. Criteria included climate change mitigation and environmental performance. But Greenpeace says ANZ deserves a different title. The biggest backer of Australia's carbon-polluting coal industry, financing nearly $1.7 billion worth of mines, ports and power stations in the last 5 years.
They're winning awards for sustainability. They've got a policy to go carbon neutral, and those policies and that green rhetoric is completely at odds with their practice. They're wanting to have their cake and eat it too. They want to be able to say they're green and continue polluting.
It's a big shift in tactics for Greenpeace, which until recently focused more on activists invading coal ports and power stations. Now they're following the money all the way to ANZ's customers.
Their bank are using their money, their savings, to cause global warming. And I think when people find out about that, they're going to want to talk to their bank about it and say, well, what's my money actually doing? Is it working for change or is it working to do harm?
ANZ Bank hit back tonight with a statement to Lateline saying it recognises the ongoing importance of coal in Australia's energy security while Australia makes a transition to a low-carbon future, and that the bank is the nation's leading renewable energy financier and is starting to see a shift in our portfolio from coal to alternative sources. Nathan Fabian is from one of Australia's biggest investor groups, worth $600 billion, called the Investor Group on Climate Change. He believes the Greenpeace campaign will attract investor attention.
Companies who have thought through this know that there's going to be more scrutiny on what they do. And companies that have really done their homework should be prepared to engage in some kind of dialogue about how they're addressing the fundamental exposures in their business. So a mature response would be to look at this thoroughly and start to outline how the business is going to address the issue. And sure, companies are always nervous, I guess, or wary when they get this kind of attention, but I think they know the issue is not going away.
While the latest carbon disclosure survey of major companies, including ANZ, shows high levels of awareness of the climate change problem, Australia lags behind on specific action plans.
Australian companies were ranked third globally across the Australian market for having good board oversight and governance of climate change risk. But they were ranked 20th when it came to setting clear targets for reducing emissions. And they have not had the regulatory certainty to do it yet.
Greenpeace says it will draw on more than 100,000 supporters for what it calls a big and long campaign against ANZ. Margot O'Neill, Lateline.